Have you ever heard someone say something and you just can't tell if they're being incredibly profound or if it's a complete and total joke? Well, today we're diving deep into one of those phrases. And believe me, what it reveals is going to tell us a whole lot about language itself.
Okay, so here it is. Sophia's reasons. It has a certain ring to it, right? It sounds like it could be an inside joke, or maybe, just maybe, something really deep. But what is actually being said here? What is someone really trying to do when they use a phrase like this?
And right there, that's the heart of the puzzle. Is this a genuine appeal to some kind of higher logic, or is it pure sarcasm, a clever way to call out an argument that makes absolutely no sense? The wild part is, it can be both. And what's so cool is that by unpacking this one little phrase, we're not just solving some word puzzle. We're actually about to uncover some really fundamental truths about how language works, how we all create meaning together, and how we literally build our social world with just our words.
So to get to the bottom of this, we have to start at the beginning. Let's build the foundation, the most obvious, straightforward meaning behind these words. The absolute key, of course, is the name Sophia. This is not just any name. It comes directly from the ancient Greek word for wisdom. We're not talking about just being smart. We're talking about deep insight, knowledge, the whole pursuit of truth. I mean, the word philosophy itself literally means love of Sophia, the love of wisdom.
And this idea has an incredible history. In ancient Greece, it was a central pillar of philosophy. Then, over the centuries, it got personified as this divine, almost holy wisdom in different religious traditions. So today, when we hear the name Sophia, it's carrying all of that historical and allegorical weight. It instantly injects thousands of years of intellectual and spiritual power right into the phrase.
Okay, so we've built this really solid foundation of wisdom. It seems pretty straightforward, right? Well, what if it's not nearly as solid as it seems? Now it's time to pull back the curtain and, let's take it all apart.
The first tool we're going to use is called semiotics. Now, I know, that sounds super academic, but stick with me, it's actually pretty simple. It's just the study of signs, how words and symbols actually work to create meaning. It lets us look at the phrase not as one single thing, but as a bunch of different parts all working together.
So in semiotics, you've got two key ideas. The signifier is just the word itself, the sounds you hear. Sophia's reasons. The signified is the concept or the idea it's pointing to, and this is where our problem becomes crystal clear. The signified here is all over the place. It could be logic, wisdom, biting sarcasm, an inside joke. The words, the signifier, they stay the same, but the meaning can shift like crazy.
And this brings us to a more critical, kind of postmodern point of view. It looks at that gap between the words and the idea and asks a really tough question. What if that wisdom we think the phrase is pointing to isn't actually there at all?
To get our heads around that, we need this one word, a simulacrum. Just think of it like this, a photocopy of a photocopy. The first copy looks a lot like the original, but if you make a copy of that copy and then a copy of that one, eventually you have something that just vaguely resembles the original, but the true source is long gone. It's a representation that's totally disconnected from any real underlying truth. So let's apply this. From this perspective, Sophia is just a word, a signifier we all agreed means wisdom. The reasons themselves aren't automatically wise. And that little exclamation point, that can flip the whole thing into irony. So the crucial point here is that the phrase can become a simulacrum, a representation of wisdom that's actually masking a total lack of it. It's an empty sign. Okay, so if the meaning isn't baked into the words themselves, then where the heck is it? This brings us to our final act, the synthesis. It's time to put all these pieces back together, but in a totally new way. And the key here is this idea of a performative utterance. And honestly, this is a total game changer. It's the idea that some language doesn't just describe the world, it actively does something in the world. You know, when a judge says, "I now pronounce you married," they aren't just describing a marriage, their words are literally creating it in that moment.
So here's how this performance builds our meaning. Step 1, the words are spoken, Sophia's reasons. Step 2, the speaker applies a tone. Are they being sincere or sarcastic? And finally, step 3, you've got the context. Who's talking to who, when, where? And the result of all that is a totally unique meaning, performed live right there in that specific moment.
And that right there is the big synthesis. The meaning of Sophia's reasons isn't hiding in its Greek roots or in some dictionary definition. Nope. It's created, live, in the performance, and how it's said and how it's heard by others. Meaning isn't some static thing. It's a social event.
So, why does any of this matter? Is this just a cool thought experiment? Absolutely not. Because once you understand that meaning is performed, you start to see how we use language every single day to navigate our world, and, maybe most importantly, to manage power. Think about it. When someone says, Sophia's reasons, with a straight face, they are performing an act of authority. By summoning this whole history of wisdom, they are claiming the higher ground, either intellectually or morally. It's a really slick linguistic move to make their own argument seem legit, and at the same time, to just brush off or discredit whatever the other person is saying, all without actually debating the facts.
So in the end, the real power of the phrase is its amazing ability to hold both of these meanings at the exact same time. It can be a totally sincere appeal to logic, a way of saying, hey, trust me, I've thought this through, or it can be a totally devastating ironic jab, a polite way of saying, that is the most ridiculous thing I have ever heard. The meaning is slippery, and that slipperiness is exactly what makes it such a powerful tool.
And that leaves us with one final kind of mind-bending thought. We just took apart and reassembled one simple little phrase, and inside we found this complex machine of history, power, and social performance. It really makes you wonder, right? What other words and phrases that we use every single day are quietly shaping our reality, defining our relationships, and shifting power, all happening right under our noses?